Section 100 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Phil Schempf. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Let me live out my years. We speak of the comforts and ease of old age, but our noblest selves do not really desire them. We want to do more than exist. We want to be alive to the very last. Let me live out my years in heat of blood. Let me die drunken with the dreamer's wine. Let me not see this soul house built of mud go toppling to the dust, a vacant shrine. Let me go quickly like a candle light, snuffed out just at the heyday of its glow. Give me high noon, and let it then be night. Thus would I go. And grant that when I face the grisly thing, my song may triumph down the gray perhaps. Let me be as a tune-swept fiddle string that feels the master melody and snaps. John G. Neihart, From the Quest, Collected Lyrics. End of section 100.
Section 101 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Carl Thomas. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Life. What is life, we ask? Just one darned thing after another, the cynic replies. Yes, a multiplicity of forces and interests, and each of them, even the disagreeable, may be of real help to us. It's good for a dog, says a shrewd philosopher, to be pestered with fleas. It keeps him from thinking too much about being a dog. What's life, a story or a song, a race on any track, a gay adventure, short or long, a puzzling nut to crack, a grinding task, a pleasant stroll, a climb, a slide down hill, a constant striving for a goal, a cake, a bitter pill, a pit where fortune flouts or stings, a playground full of fun, with many any of these things, with others all in one. What's life to love the things we see, the hills that touch the skies, the smiling sea, the laughing lea, the light in woman's eyes, to work and love the work we do, to play a game that's square, to grin a bit when feeling blue, with friends our joys to share, to smile though games be lost or won, to earn our daily bread, and when at last the day is done, to tumble into bed. Griffith Alexander, from the Philadelphia Evening Public Ledger. End of section 101. Section 102 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Carl Thomas. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Life. In life is necessarily much monotony, sameness, but our triumph may lie in putting richness and meaning into routine that apparently lacks them. Forenoon and afternoon and night, forenoon and afternoon and night, forenoon and what? The empty song repeats itself, no more. Yeah, that is life, making this forenoon sublime, this afternoon a psalm, this night a prayer, and time is conquered, and thy crown is won. Edward Rowland Sill, from Poems. End of section 102. Section 103 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Carl Thomas. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Life. Most of us have failed or gone astray in one fashion or another at one time or another. But we need not become despondent at such times. We should resolve to reap the full benefit of the discovery of our weakness, our folly. All in the dark we grope along, and if we go amiss, we learn at least which path is wrong, and there is gain in this. We do not always win the race by only running right. We have to tread the mountain's base before we reach its height. But he who loves himself the last, and knows the use of pain, though strewn with errors all his past, he surely shall attain. Some souls there are that needs must taste of wrong ere choosing right. We should not call those years a waste, which lead us to the light. Ella Wheeler Wilcox, from Poems of Power. End of section 103.
Section 104 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Life and Death. Life, I know not what thou art, but know that thou and I must part. And when, or how, or where we met, I own to me a secret yet. Life, we've been long together, through pleasant and through cloudy weather. 'Tis hard to part when friends are dear, perhaps will cost a sigh, a tear. Then steal away, give little warning, choose thine own time. Say not good night, but in some brighter clime bid me good morning. Anna Barbauld. End of section 104. Read by Alice Stein.
Section 105 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Phil Schempf. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Life and Death. Many a man would die for wife and children, for faith, for country, but would he live for them? That often is a more heroic course, and the more sensible. A rich man was hiring a driver for his carriage. He asked each applicant how close he could drive to a precipice without toppling over. 1 foot, 6 inches, 3 inches, ran the replies. But an Irishman declared, "Faith, and I'd keep as far away from the place as I could." "Consider yourself employed," was the rich man's comment. So he died for his faith. That is fine. More than most of us do. But stay, can you add to that line that he lived for it too? In death he bore witness at last, as a martyr to truth. Did his life do the same in the past from the days of his youth? It is easy to die. Men have died for a wish or a whim, from bravado or passion or pride. Was it harder for him? But to live every day, to live out all the truth that he dreamt, while his friends met his conduct with doubt, and the world with contempt. Was it thus that he plodded ahead, never turning aside? Then we'll talk of the life that he led, never mind how he died. Ernest H. Crosby, From Swords and Plowshares. End of section 105.
Section 106 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Life, Not Death by Alfred Tennyson. Sometimes life is so unsatisfying that we think we should like to be rid of it. but we really are not longing for death. We are longing for more life. Whatever crazy sorrow saith, no life that breathes with human breath has ever truly longed for death. 'Tis life whereof our nerves are scant. O life, not death, for which we pant. More life, and fuller, that I want. End of section 106. Read by Ingrid Volk, Béziers, France, March 2025.
Section 107 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Phil Schempf. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. The Life Without Passion. A person may feel deeply without shouting his emotion to the skies, or be strong without seizing occasions to exhibit his strength. In truth, we distrust the power which makes too much a display of itself. Let it exert itself only to the point of securing the ends that are really necessary. Restraint, self-control are in truth more mighty than might unshackled, just as a self-possessed opponent is more dangerous than a frenzied one. Moreover, there is a moral side to the question. A good quality, if abused or allowed free sway, becomes a force for evil, and does its owner more harm than if he had not possessed it in the first place. They that have power to hurt, and will do none, that do not do the thing they most do show, who, moving others, are themselves as stone, unmoved, cold, and to temptation slow. They rightly do inherit heaven's graces, and husband nature's riches from expense. They are the lords and owners of their faces, others but stewards of their excellence. The summer's flower is to the summer sweet, though to itself it only live and die. But if that flower with base infection meet, the basest weed outbraves his dignity. For sweetest things turn sourest by their deeds. Lilies that fester smell far worse than weeds. William Shakespeare. End of section 107.
Section 108 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. The Lion Path. Admiral Dupont was explaining to Farragut his reasons for not taking his ironclads into Charleston Harbor. "You haven't given me the main reason yet," said Farragut. "What's that?" "You didn't think you could do it." "So the man who thinks he can't pass a lion can't. But the man who thinks he can. Indeed, he oftentimes finds that the lion isn't really there at all." "I dare not. Look, the road is very dark. The trees stir softly and the bushes shake. The long grass rustles and the darkness moves. Here, there, beyond, there's something crept across the road just now. And you would have me go? Go there? Through that live darkness, hideous with stir of crouching forms that wait to kill? Look, see there, and there again. Great yellow, glassy eyes close to the ground. Look! Now the clouds are lighter, I can see the long, slow lashing of the sinewy tails, and the set quiver of strong jaws that wait. Go there? Not I. Who dares to go, who sees so perfectly the lions in the path? Comes one who dares, afraid at first, yet bound on such high errand as no fear could stay. Forth goes he, with lions in his path. And then he dared a death of agony, outnumbered battle with the king of beasts, long struggles in the horror of the night, dared and went forth to meet. Oh, ye who fear, finding an empty road and nothing there, and fences and the dusty roadside trees, some spitting kittens, maybe, in the grass. Charlotte Perkins Gilman, from In This Our World. End of section 108. Read by Alice Stein.
Section 109 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Christine. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Lions and Ants by Walt Mason. Once a hunter met a lion near the hungry critter's lair, and the way that lion mauled him was decidedly unfair. But the hunter never whimpered when the surgeons with their thread sewed up 47 gashes in his mutilated head. And he showed the scars in triumph, and they gave him pleasant frame, and he always blessed the lion that camped upon his frame. Once the hunter, absent-minded, sat upon a hill of ants, and about 1,000,000 bit him, and you should have seen him dance. And he used up lots of language of a deep magenta tint, and apostrophized the insects in a style unfit to print. And it's thus with worldly troubles, when the big ones come along, we serenely go to meet them, feeling valiant, bold, and strong. But the weary little worries, with their poison stinks and smarts, put the lid upon the courage, make us gray and break our hearts. End of section 109. Section 110 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Christine. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. A Little Prayer by S.E. Kaiser. We should strive to bring what happiness we can to others. More still, we should strive to bring them no unhappiness. When we come to die, it is as George Eliot once said, not our kindness or our patience or our generosity that we shall regret, but our intolerance and our harshness. That I may not in blindness grope, but that I may with vision clear know when to speak a word of hope, or add a little wholesome cheer. That tempered winds may softly blow, where little children, thinly clad, sit dreaming when the flame is low, of comforts they have never had. That though the year which lies ahead, no heart shall ache, no cheek be wet, for any word that I have said or profit I have tried to get. End of section 110.
Section 111 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. A Little Thankful Song by Frank L. Stanton. No man is without a reason to be thankful. If he lacks gratitude, the fault lies at least partly with himself. For what are we thankful for? For this, for the breath and the sunlight of life, for the love of the child and the kiss on the lips of the mother and wife, for roses entwining, for bud and for bloom, and hopes that are shining like stars in the gloom. For what are we thankful for? For this, the strength and the patience of toil, forever the dreams that are bliss, the hope of the seed in the soil, for souls that are whiter from day unto day, and lives that are brighter from going God's way. For what are we thankful for? For all, the sunlight, the shadow, the song, The blossoms may wither and fall, but the world moves in music along. For simple, sweet living, 'tis love that doth teach it, a heaven forgiving, and faith that can reach it. End of section 111.
Section 112 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Carl Thomas. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Lose the day loitering. Anything is hard to begin, whether it be taking a cold bath, writing a letter, clearing up a misunderstanding, or falling to on the day's work. Yet, a thing begun is half done. No matter how unpleasant the thing is to do, begin it, and immediately it becomes less unpleasant. Form the excellent habit of making a start. Lose the day loitering, 'twill be the same story, tomorrow and the next more dilatory, for indecision brings its own delays, and days are lost lamenting over lost days. Are you in earnest? Seize this very minute. What you can do or think you can, begin it. Only engage, and then the mind grows heated. Begin it, and the work will be completed. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. End of section 112.
Section 113 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Man, Bird, and God. Robert Bruce, despairing of his country's cause, was aroused to new hope and purpose by the sight of a spider casting its lines until at last it had one that held. In the following passage, the poet, uncertain as to his own future, yet trusts the providence which guides the birds in their long and uncharted migrations. I go to prove my soul. I see my way as birds their trackless way. I shall arrive. What time, what circuit first, I ask not. But unless God send his hail, or blinding fireballs, sleet or stifling snow, in some time, his good time, I shall arrive. He guides me and the bird in his good time. Robert Browning. End of section 113.
Section 114 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Adrian Stevens. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and Sinclair Adams. Man or Mannequin by Richard Butler Glaenzer. The world does not always distinguish between appearance and true merit. Pretense often gets the plaudits, but desert is above them. It has rewards of its own. No matter where you come from a palace or a ditch, you're a man, if you square yourself to life. And no matter what they say, hermit poor or Midas rich, you are nothing but an husk if you sidestep strife. For it's do, with a purpose all your own, that makes a man, whether born a serf or king. And it's loaf, lolling on a bench or throne, that makes a being thewed to act a limp and useless thing. No matter what you do, miracles or fruitless deeds, you're a man, if you do them with a will. And no matter how you loaf, cursing wealth or mumbling creeds, you're nothing but a noise, and its weight is nil. For it's be champion of your art and soul, that makes a man, whether reared in silk or rags, and it's talk, talk, talk from a tattered shirt or stole that makes the image of a god a mannequin that brags. End of section 114. Section 115 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Adrian Stevens. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and Sinclair Adams. A Man's a Man for All That by Robert Burns. It is said that once at a laird's house Burns was placed at a second table, that this rankled in his breast and caused him to write his poem on equality. He insists that rank, wealth, and external distinctions are merely the stamp on the guinea. The man is the gold itself. Snobbishness he abhors. Poverty he confesses to, without hanging his head in the least. The pith of sense and the pride of worth he declares superior to any dignity thrust upon a person from the outside. In a final prophetic mood, he looks forward to the time when a democracy of square dealing shall prevail, praise shall be reserved for merit, and men the world over shall be to each other as brothers. Note the following. Gold equals gold. Hamely is homely or commonplace. Gi is give. Say is so. Berkey is fellow. Cuif is simpleton. Mac is make. Aboon is above. Mauna is must not. Fa is acclaim. Gri is prize. Is there for honest poverty that hangs his head, and are that? The coward slave, we pass him be, we dare be poor for all that. For all that, and all that, our toils obscure, and all that, the rank is but the guinea stamp, the man's the gold for all that. What though on hamely fare we dine, wear hodden grey and all that, gie fools their silks and knaves their wine, a man's a man for all that. For all that, and all that, their tinsel show, and all that, the honest man, though e'er sae poor, is king o' men for all that. Ye see yon Berkey, cauda lord, who struts and stares, and all that. Though hundreds worship at his word, he's but a cuif for all that, and all that, his ribbon, star, and all that. The man of independent mind, he looks and laughs at all that. A prince can mak a belted knight, a marquis, duke, and all that, but an honest man's aboon his might. Good faith he mauna fa that. For all that, and all that, their dignities, and all that, the pith of sense and pride of worth, a higher rank than all that. Then let us pray that come it may, as come it will for all that sense and worth o'er all the earth may bear the gree and all that. For all that, and all that, it's coming yet for all that man to man the world o'er shall brothers be for all that. End of section 115. Section 116 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Adrian Stevens. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and Sinclair Adams. The Man Who Frets at Worldly Strife by Joseph Rodman Drake. Lord, what fools these mortals be! Exclaims Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream. And well might the fairy marvel, who sees folk vexing themselves over matters that 9 times out of 10 come to nothing. Much wiser is the man who smiles at misfortunes, even when they are real ones and affect him personally. Charles Lamb once cheerfully helped to hiss off the stage a play he himself had written. The man who frets at worldly strife grows sallow, sour, and thin. Give us the lad whose happy life is one perpetual grin. He, Midas-like, turns all to gold. He smiles when others sigh, enjoys alike the hot and cold, and laughs through wet or dry. There's fun in everything we meet, the greatest, worst, and best. Existence is a merry treat, and every speech a jest. So, come what may, the man's in luck who turns it all to glee, and laughing cries with honest Puck, "Good Lord, what fools ye be!" End of section 116. Section 117 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Adrian Stevens. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and Sinclair Adams. Meet in Trouble by Everett Jack Appleton. Some students of biology planned a trick on their professor. They took the head of one beetle, the body of another of a totally different species, the wings of a third, the legs of a fourth. These members they carefully pasted together. Then they asked the professor what kind of bug the creature was. He answered promptly, a humbug. Just such a monstrosity is trouble, especially future trouble. Some things about it are real, but the whole combined menace is only an illusion, not a thing which actually exists at all. Face the trouble itself. Give no heed to that idea of it, which invests it with 100 dire calamities. Trouble, in the distance, seems all fired big. Sort of makes you shiver when you look at it a-comin'. Makes you want to edge aside or hide or take a swig of something that is sure to set your worried head a-hummin'. Trouble in the distance is a mighty scary fella, but wait till it reaches you afore you start to bella. Trouble standing in the road and frowning at you, black, makes you feel like taking to the weeds along the way. Wish to goodness you could turn and hump yourself straight back. No, 'twill be awful when he gets you close at bay. Trouble standing in the road is bound to make you shy, but wait until it reaches you afore you start to cry. Trouble face to face with you ain't pleasant, but you'll find that it ain't one half as big as first it seemed to be. Stand up straight and bluff it out. Say, "I got a mind to shake my fist and scare you off. You don't belong to me." Trouble face to face with you. Though you mayn't feel gay, laugh at it as if you was, and it'll sneak away. End of section 117. Section 118 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Adrian Stevens. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and Sinclair Adams. Might Have Been by Grantland Rice. Yes, it's pretty hard, the optimistic old woman admitted. I have to get along with only 2 teeth, one in the upper jaw and one in the lower, but thank God they meet. Here's to the days that might have been. Here's to the life I might have led, the fame I might have gathered in, the glory ways I might have sped. Great might have been, I drink to you, upon a throne where thousands hail, and then there looms another view. I also might have been in jail. O land of might have been, we turn with aching hearts to where you wait, where crimson fires of glory burn, and laurel crowns the guarding gate. We may not see across your fields the sightless skulls that knew their woe, the broken spears, the shattered shields, that might have been as truly so. Of all sad words of tongue or pen, so wails the poet in his pain. The saddest are, it might have been, and worldwide runs the dull refrain. The saddest, yes, but in the jar this thought brings to me with its curse, I sometimes think the gladdest are, it might have been a blamed sight worse. End of section 118.
Section 119 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Carl Thomas. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Mistress Fate. Faint heart never won fair lady. Mistress Fate herself should be courted, not with feminine finesse, but with masculine courage and aggression. Flout her power, young man. She is merely shrewish scolding. She is plastic to your moulding. She is woman in her yielding to the fire's desires fan. Flout her power, young man. Fight her fair, strong man. Such a serpent love this is, bitter wormwood in her kiss. When she strikes, be nerved and ready. Keep your gaze both bright and steady. Chance no rapier play, but hotly press the quarrel she began. Fight her fair, strong man. Gaze her down, old man. Now no laughter may defy her, not a shaft of scorn come nigh her, but she waits within the shadows, in dark shadows very near, and her silence is your fear. Meet her world-old eyes of warning, gaze them down with courage can, you gaze them down, old man. William Rose Benet. From Merchants from Cathay. End of section 119.
Section 120 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Morality. Morality. We can't always, even when accomplishing, have the ardor of accomplishment. We can only hold to the purpose formed in more inspired hours. After a work is finished, even though it be a good work which our final judgment will approve, we are likely to be oppressed for a time by the anxieties we have passed through. The comfort of effort has left us, and we recall our dreams, our intentions, beside which our actual achievement seems small. In such moments, we should remember that just after the delivery of the Gettysburg Address, Lincoln believed it an utter failure. Yet the address was a masterpiece of commemorative oratory. We cannot kindle when we will the fire which in the heart resides. The spirit bloweth and is still. In mystery our soul abides. But tasks an hour of insight willed can be through hours of gloom fulfilled. With aching hands and bleeding feet, we dig and heap, lay stone on stone. We bear the burden and the heat of the long day and wish 'twere done. Not till the hours of light return, all we have built do we discern. Matthew Arnold. End of section 120.
Section 121 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. My Creed by S. E. Kaiser. We all have a philosophy of life, whether or not we formulate it. Does it end in self, or does it include our relations and our duties to our fellows? General William Booth of the Salvation Army was once asked to send a Christmas greeting to his forces throughout the world. His life had been spent in unselfish service. Over the cable he sent but one word: others. This is my creed, to do some good, to bear my ills without complaining, to press on as a brave man should, for honors that are worth the gaining, to seek no profits where I may, by winning them bring grief to others, to do some service day by day in helping on my toiling brothers. This is my creed, to close my eyes to little faults of those around me, to strive to be, when each day dies, some better than the morning found me. To ask for no unearned applause, to cross no river until I reach it, to see the merit of the cause before I follow those who preach it. This is my creed, to try to shun the sloughs in which the foolish wallow, to lead where I may be the one whom weaker men should choose to follow, to keep my standards always high, to find my task and always do it. This is my creed, I wish that I could learn to shape my action to it. End of section 121.
Section 122 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. My Philosophy. Though dogs persist in barking at the moon's business is not to answer the dogs or to waste strength placating them, but simply to shine. The man who strives or succeeds is sure to be criticized. Is he therefore to abstain from all effort? We are responsible for our own lives and cannot regulate them according to other people's ideas. Whoso would be a man, says Emerson, must be a nonconformist. I always argue that a man who does about the best he can is plenty good enough to suit this lower mundane institute, no matter if his daily walk is subject for his neighbor's talk, and critic minds of every whim just all get up and go for him. It's natural enough, I guess, when some gets more and some gets less. The them uns on the slimmest side to claim it ain't a fair divide, and I've knowed some to lay and wait and get up soon and set up late to catch some fella they could hate for going at a faster gait. My doctrine is to lay aside contentions and be satisfied. Just do your best, and praise or blame that follows that counts just the same. I've always noticed great success is mixed with troubles more or less, and it's the man who does the best that gets more kicks than all the rest. James Whitcomb Riley, from the biographical edition of the complete works of James Whitcomb Riley. End of section 122, read by Dixie Ann S. Didier, Valencia, April 29, 2025.
Section 123 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by John Beeble. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. My Triumph by John Greenleaf Whittier. The poet, looking back upon the hopes he has cherished, perceives that he has fallen far short of achieving them. The songs he has sung are less sweet than those he has dreamed of singing. The wishes he has wrought into facts are less noble than those that are yet unfulfilled. But he looks forward to the time when all that he desires for humankind shall yet come to pass. The praise will not be his, it will belong to others. Still, he does not envy those who are destined to succeed where he failed. Rather does he rejoice that through them his hopes for the race will be realized. And he is happy that by longing for just such a triumph, he shares in it. He makes it his triumph. Let the thick curtain fall. I better know than all how little I have gained, how vast the unattained. Not by the page word painted, let life be banned or sainted, deeper than written scroll, the colors of the soul. Sweeter than any sung, my songs that found no tongue, nobler than any fact, my wish that failed to act. Others shall sing the song, others shall right the wrong, finish what I begin, and all I fail of win. What matter I or they, mine or another's day, so the right word be said, and life the sweeter made. Hail to the coming singers, hail to the brave light bringers. Forward I reach and share all that they sing and dare. The airs of heaven blow o'er me, a glory shines before me, of what mankind shall be, pure, generous, brave, and free. A dream of man and woman, diviner but still human, solving the riddle old, shaping the age of gold. The love of God and neighbor, in equal-handed labor, the richer life where beauty walks hand in hand with duty. Ring, bells in unreared steeples, the joy of unborn peoples. Sound, trumpets far off blown, your triumph is my own. Parcel and part of all, I keep the festival, for reach the good to be, and share the victory. I feel the earth move sunward, I join the great march onward, and take by faith while living my free hold of thanksgiving. End of section 123.
Section 124 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. My Wage by Jesse B. Rittenhouse. We may as well aim high as low, ask much as little. The world will not miss what it gives us, and our reward will largely be governed by our demands. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening, when I counted my scanty store. For life is a just employer. He gives you what you ask, but once you have set the wages, why, you must bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn, dismayed, that any wage I had asked of life, life would have paid. End of section 124. Section 125 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Never Trouble Trouble by St. Clair Adams. To borrow trouble is to contract a debt that any man is better without. If your troubles are not borrowed, they are not likely to be many or great. I used to hear a saying that had a deal of pith. It gave a cheerful spirit to face existence with, especially when matters seemed doomed to go askew. 'Twas never trouble trouble till trouble troubles you. Not woes at hand, those coming are hardest to resist. We hear them stalk like giants, we see them through a mist, but big things in the brewing are small things in the brew. So never trouble till trouble troubles you. Just look at things through glasses that show the evidence. One lens of them is courage, the other common sense. They'll make it clear misgivings are just a bugaboo. No more you'll trouble till trouble troubles you. End of section 125.
Section 126 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and Sinclair Adams. The New Duckling by Alfred Noyes. There are people who, without having anything exceptional in their natures or purposes or visions, yet try to be different for the sake of being different. They are not content to be what they are. They wish to be utterly other. Of course, they are hollow, artificial, insincere. Moreover, they are nuisances. Their very foundations are wrong ones. Be yourself, unless you're a fool. In that case, of course, try to be somebody else. I want to be new, said the duckling. Oh ho, said the wise old owl, while the guinea hen cluttered off chuckling to tell all the rest of the fowl. I should like a more elegant figure, that child of a duck went on. I should like to grow bigger and bigger until I could swallow a swan. I won't be the bond slave of habit. I won't have these webs on my toes. I want to run round like a rabbit as red as a rose. I don't want to waddle like mother or quack like my silly old dad. I want to be utterly other and frightfully modern and mad. Do you know, said the turkey, you're quacking. There's a fox creeping up through the rye, and if you're not utterly lacking, you'll make for that duck pond. Goodbye. But the duckling was perky as perky. Take care of your stuffing, he called. This was horribly rude to a turkey. But you aren't a real turkey, he bawled. You're an early Victorian sparrow. A fox is more fun than a sheep. I shall show that my mind is not narrow, and give him my feathers to keep. Now the curious end of this fable, so far as the rest ascertained, though they searched from the barn to the stable, was that only his feathers remained. So he wasn't the bond slave of habit, and he didn't have webs on his toes, and perhaps he runs round like a rabbit as red as a rose. Alfred Noyes, from Collected Poems. End of section 126.
Section 127 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Christopher Freed. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. The Noble Nature by Ben Jonson. There is a deceptive glamour about mere bigness. Quality may accompany quantity, but it need not. In fact, good things are usually done up in small parcels. I could eat you at a mouthful, roared a bulky opponent to the small and sickly Alexander H. Stevens. If you did, replied Stevens quietly, you'd have more brains in your belly than ever you had in your head. It is not growing like a tree in bulk doth make man better be, or standing long in oak 300 year, to fall a log at last, dry, bold, and sere. A lily of a day is fairer far in May, although it fall and die that night. It was the plant and flower of light. In small proportions we just beauty see, and in short measures life may perfect be. End of section 127.
Section 128 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Ode to Duty by William Wordsworth. In the first stanza, the poet hails duty as coming from God. It is a light to guide us and a rod to check. To obey it does not lead to victory. To obey it is victory, is to live by a high, noble law. In the second stanza, he admits that some people do right without driving themselves to it, do it by instinct and the genial sense of youth. In stanza 3, he looks forward to a time when all people will be thus blessed, but he thinks that, as yet, it is unsafe for most of us to lose touch completely with stern, commanding duty. In stanzas 4 and 5, he states that he himself has been too impatient of control, has wearied himself by changing from one desire to another, and now wishes to regulate his life by some great abiding principle. In stanza 6, he declares that duty, though stern, is benignant. The flowers bloom in obedience to it, and the stars keep their places. In the final stanza, he dedicates his life to its service. Stern daughter of the voice of God, O duty, if that name thou love, who art a light to guide, a rod to check the erring and reprove, thou who art victory and law, when empty terrors overawe, from vain temptations dost set free, and calm'st the weary strife of frail humanity. There are who ask not if thy nigh, beyond them who in love and truth, where no misgiving is, rely upon the genial sense of youth. Glad hearts without reproach or blot, who do thy work and know it not. Oh, if through confidence misplaced they fail, thy saving arms, dread power, around them cast. Serene will be our days and bright, and happy will our nature be, when love is an unerring light, and joy its own security, and they a blissful course may hold, even now who, not unwisely bold, live in the spirit of this creed, yet seek thy firm support according to their need. I, loving freedom and untried, no sport of every random gust, yet being to myself a guide, too blindly have reposed my trust, and oft, when in my heart was heard thy timely mandate, I deferred the task in smoother walks to stray, but thee I now would serve more strictly, if I may. Through no disturbance of my soul, or strong compunction in me wrought, I supplicate for thy control, but in the quietness of thought. Me this unchartered freedom tires, I feel the weight of chance desires. My hopes no more must change their name, I long for a repose that ever is the same. Stern lawgiver, yet thou dost wear the Godhead's most benignant grace, nor know we anything so fair as is the smile upon thy face. Flowers laugh before thee on their beds, and fragrance in thy footing treads. Thou dost preserve the stars from wrong, and the most ancient heavens through thee are fresh and strong. To humbler functions, awful power, I call thee, I myself commend, unto thy guidance from this hour. O let my weakness have an end. Give unto me, made lowly wise, the spirit of self-sacrifice, the confidence of reason give, and in the light of truth, thy bondman, let me live. End of section 128. Section 129 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. On Being Ready by Grantland Rice. At nightfall, after bloody Antietam Lee's army, outnumbered and exhausted, lay with the Potomac at its back. So serious was the situation that all the subordinate officers advised retreat. But Lee, though too maimed to attack, would not leave the field save of his own volition. "If McClellan wants a battle," he declared, "he can have it." McClellan hesitated, and through the whole of the next day kept his great army idle. The effect upon the morale of the two forces and the two governments can be imagined. The man who is there with the wallop and punch, the one who is trained to the minute, may well be around when the trouble begins, but you seldom will find he is in it, for they let him alone when they know he is there, for any set part in the ramble, to pick out the one who is shrinking and soft, and not quite attuned to the scramble. The one who is fixed for whatever they start is rarely expected to prove it. They pass him along for the next shot in sight, where they take a full wind-up and groove it. For who wants to pick on a bulldog or such, where a quivering poodle is handy, when he knows he can win with a kick or a brick, with no further trouble to bandy? End of section 129. Section 130 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. On Down the Road by Grantland Rice. Hazlitt said that the defeat of the Whigs could be read in the shifting and irresolute countenance of Charles James Fox, and the triumph of the Tories in Pitt's aspiring nose. The empires of the Montezumas are conquered by men who, like Cortez, risk everything in the enterprise and make retreat impossible by burning their ships behind them. Hold to the course, though the storms are about you. Stick to the road where the banner still flies. Fate and his legions are ready to rout you. Give them both barrels and aim for their eyes. Life's not a rosebed, a dream, or a bubble, a living in clover beneath cloudless skies. And fate hates a fighter who's looking for trouble, so give 'em both barrels and shoot for the eyes. Fame never comes to the loafers and sitters. Life's full of knots and a shifting disguise. Fate only picks on the cowards and quitters, so give 'em both barrels and aim for the eyes. End of section 130.
Section 131 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. One fight more. We need not expect much of the man who, when defeated, gives way either to despair or to a wild impulse for immediate revenge. But from the man who stores up his strength quietly and bides his time for a new effort, we may expect everything. Now, think you, life, I am defeated quite? More than a single battle shall be mine before I yield the sword and give the sign and turn, a crownless outcast, to the night. Wounded and yet unconquered in the fight, I wait in silence till the day may shine once more upon my strength, and all the line of your defenses break before my might. Mine be that warrior's blood who, stricken sore, lies in his quiet chamber, till he hears afar the clash and clang of arms, and knows the cause he lived for calls for him once more, and straightway rises, whole and void of fears, and armed, turns him singing to his foes. Theodosia Garrison, from The Earth Cry. End of section 131, read by Alice Stein.
Section 132 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. One of These Days by James W. Foley. The worst fault in a hound is to run counter, to follow the trail backward, not forward. Is the fault less when men are guilty of it? Behind us is much that we have found to be faithless, cruel, or unpleasant. Why go back to that? Why not go forward to the things we really desire? Say, let's forget it, let's put it aside. Life is so large and the world is so wide. Days are so short and there's so much to do. What if it was false? There's plenty that's true. Say, let's forget it. Let's brush it away, now and forever. So what do you say? All of the bitter words said may be praise, one of these days. Say, let's forget it. Let's wipe off the slate. Find something better to cherish than hate. There's so much good in the world that we've had. Let's strike a balance and cross off the bad. Say, let's forgive it, whatever it be. Let's not be slaves when we ought to be free. We shall be walking in sunshiny ways, one of these days. Say, let's not mind it, let's smile it away. Bring not a withered rose from yesterday. Flowers are so fresh from the wayside and wood, sorrows and blessings but half understood. Say, let's not mind it, however it seems. Hope is so sweet and holds so many dreams. All of the sere fields with blossoms shall blaze, one of these days. Say, let's not take it so sorely to heart. Hates may be friendships just drifted apart. Failure be genius not quite understood. Say, let's get closer to somebody's side. See what his dreams are and learn how he tried. See if our scoldings won't give way to praise, one of these days. Say, let's not wither, let's branch out and rise, out of the byways and nearer the skies. Let's spread some shade that's refreshing and deep, where some tired traveler may lay down and sleep. Say, let's not tarry, let's do it right now. So much to do if we just find out how. We may not be here to help folks or praise, one of these days. End of section 132. Section 133 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. The One by Everard Jack Appleton. In our youth we picture ourselves as we will be in the future. Not mere types of this or that kind of success, but above all and in all, ideal men. Then come the years and the struggles, and we are buffeted and baffled, and our very ideal is eclipsed. But others have done better than we. Weary and harassed, they yet embody our visions, and we, if we are worth our salt, do not envy them when we see them, nor should we grow dispirited. Rather, should we rejoice in their triumph, rejoice that our dreams were not impossibilities, take courage to strive afresh for that which we know is best. I knew his face the moment that he passed, triumphant in the thoughtless, cruel throng, triumphant, though the quiet, tired eyes showed that his soul had suffered overlong, and though across his brow faint lines of care were etched, somewhat of youth still lingered there. I gently touched his arm, he smiled at me. He was the man that once I meant to be. Where I had failed, he'd won from life, success. Where I had stumbled, with sure feet he stood. Alike, yet unalike, we faced the world, and through the stress he found that life was good. And I, the bitter wormwood in the glass, the shadowed way along which failures pass. Yet, as I saw him thus, joy came to me. He was the man that once I meant to be. I knew him, and I knew he knew me, for the man he might have been. Then did his soul thank silently the gods that gave him strength to win, while I so sorely missed the goal. He turned, and quickly in his own firm hand he took my own, the gulf of failure spanned, and that was all. Strong, self-reliant, free, he was the man that once I meant to be. We did not speak, but in his sapient eyes I saw the spirit that had urged him on, the courage that had held him through the fight. Had once been mine, I thought. Can it be gone? He felt that unasked question, felt it so. His pale lips formed the one-word answer, no. Too late to win? No, not too late for me. He is the man that still I mean to be. End of section 133.
Section 134 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Carl Thomas. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Opening Paradise. We appreciate even the common things of life if we are denied them. See the wretch that long has tossed on the thorny bed of pain, at length repair his vigour lost, and breathe and walk again. The meanest floweret of the vale, the simplest note that swells the gale, the common sun, the air, the skies, to him are opening paradise. Thomas Gray. End of section 134.
Section 135 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Opportunity by Burton Braley. Quote, I lack only one of having 100, said a student after an examination. I have 2 noughts, end quote. And all he did lack was a 1, rightly placed. The world is full of opportunities. Discernment to perceive, courage to undertake, patience to carry through, will change the whole aspect of the universe for us, and bring positive achievement out of meaningless negation. With doubt and dismay you are smitten. You think there's no chance for you, son? Why, the best books haven't been written. The best race hasn't been run. The best score hasn't been made yet. The best song hasn't been sung. The best tune hasn't been played yet. Cheer up, for the world is young. No chance? Why, the world is just eager for things that you ought to create. Its store of true wealth is still meager. Its needs are incessant and great. It yearns for more power and beauty, more laughter and love and romance, more loyalty, labor, and duty. No chance? Why, there's nothing but chance. For the best verse hasn't been rhymed yet. The best house hasn't been planned. The highest peak hasn't been climbed yet. The mightiest rivers aren't spanned. Don't worry and fret, faint-hearted. The chances have just begun. For the best jobs haven't been started. The best work hasn't been done. Burton Braley, from, quote, A Banjo at Armageddon, end quote. End of section 135.
Section 136 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by John Beeble. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Opportunity by John James Ingalls. What is opportunity? To the brilliant mind of Senator Ingalls, it is a stupendous piece of luck. It comes once, and once only, to every human being, wise or foolish, good or wicked. If it be not perceived on the instant, it passes by forever. No longing for it, no effort can bring it back. Notice that this view is fatalistic. It makes opportunity an external thing, one that enriches men or leaves their lives empty without much regard to what they deserve. Master of human destinies am I. Fame, love, and fortune on my footsteps wait. Cities and fields I walk, I penetrate, deserts and seas remote, and passing by hovel and mart and palace, soon or late I knock, unbidden once at every gate. If sleeping, wake. If feasting, rise before I turn away. It is the hour of fate, and they who follow me reach every state. Mortals desire, and conquer every foe, save death. But those who doubt or hesitate, condemned to failure, penury, and woe, seek me in vain and uselessly implore. I answer not, and I return no more. End of section 136.
Section 137 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Carl Thomas. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Opportunity. To the thought of the preceding poem, we have here a direct answer. No matter how a man may have failed in the past, the door of opportunity is always open to him. He should not give way to useless regrets. He should know that the future is within his control, that it will be what he chooses to make it. They do me wrong who say I come no more, when once I knock and fail to find you in. For every day I stand outside your door, and bid you wake and rise to fight and win. Wail not for precious chances passed away, weep not for golden ages on the wane. Each night I burn the records of the day, at sunrise every soul is born again. Laugh like a boy at splendours that have sped, to vanish joys be blind and deaf and dumb. My judgment seal the dead past with its dead, but never bind a moment yet to come. Though deep in mire, wring not your hands and weep. I lend my arm to all who say I can. No shamefaced outcast ever sank so deep, but yet might rise and be again a man. Dost thou behold thy lost youth all aghast? Dost reel from righteous retribution's blow? Then turn from blotted archives of the past, and find the future's pages white as snow. Art thou a mourner? Rouse thee from thy spell. Art thou a sinner? Sins may be forgiven. Each morning gives thee wings to flee from hell, each night a star to guide thy feet to heaven. Walter Malone. End of section 137. Section 138 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Carl Thomas. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Opportunity. Procrastination is not only the thief of time, it is also the grave of opportunity. In an old city by the storied shores, where the bright summit of Olympus soars, a cryptic statue mounted towards the light, heel-winged, tip-toed, and poised for instant flight. "O statue, tell your name," a traveller cried, and solemnly the marble lips replied, "Men call me Opportunity, I lift my winged feet from earth to show how swift my flight, how short my stay, how fate is ever waiting on the way. But why that tossing ringlet on your brow, that men may seize me any moment now? Now is my other name, today my date. O traveller, tomorrow is too late." Edwin Markham, from The Gates of Paradise and Other Poems. End of section 138.
Section 139 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Opportunity by William Shakespeare. There is a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at the flood leads on to fortune. Omitted, all the voyage of their life is bound in shallows and in miseries. On such a full sea are we now afloat, and we must take the current when it serves, or lose our ventures. End of section 139. Read by Ingrid Falk, Béziers, France, March 2025.
Section 140 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Carl Thomas. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Opportunity. In this poem, yet another view of opportunity is presented. The recreant, or the dreamer, complains that he has no real chance. He would succeed, he says, if he had but the implements of success: money, influence, social prestige, and the like. But success lies far less in the implements than in the use we make of them. What one man throws away as useless, another man seizes as the best means of victory at hand. For every one of us, the materials for achievement are sufficient. The spirit that prompts us is what ultimately counts. This I beheld, or dreamed it in a dream. There spread a cloud of dust along a plain, and underneath the cloud, or in it, raged a furious battle, and men yelled, and swords shocked upon swords and shields. A prince's banner wavered, then staggered backwards, hemmed in by foes. A craven hung along the battle's edge, and thought, had I a sword of keener steel, that blue blade that the king's son bears, but this a blunt thing, he snapped and flung it from his hand, and lowering, crept away and left the field. Then came the king's son, wounded, sore bestead, and weaponless, and saw the broken sword, hilt buried in the dry and trodden sand, and ran and snatched it, and with battle shout, lifted afresh, he hewed his enemy down, and saved a great cause that heroic day. Edward Rowland Sill, from Poems. End of section 140.
Section 141 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Phil Schempf. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Order and the Bees, from Henry V. We often wish that we might do some other man's work, occupy his social or political station, but such an interchange is not easy. The world is complex, and its adjustments have come from long years of experience. Each man does well to perform the tasks for which nature and training have fitted him, and instead of feeling envy toward other people, we should rejoice that all labor, however diverse, is to one great end. It makes life richer and fuller. Therefore doth heaven divide the state of man in divers functions, setting endeavor in continual motion, to which is fixed, as an aim or butt, obedience. For so work the honey bees, creatures that by a rule in nature teach the act of order to a peopled kingdom. They have a king and officers of sorts, where some, like magistrates, correct at home, others, like merchants, venture trade abroad, others, like soldiers, armed in their stings, make boot upon the summer's velvet buds, which pillage they with merry march, bringing home to the tent royal of their emperor, who, busied in his majesty, surveys the singing masons building roofs of gold, the civil citizens kneading up the honey, the poor mechanic porters crowding in their heavy burdens at his narrow gate, the sad-eyed justice, with his surly hum, delivering o'er to executors pale the lazy yawning drone. I this infer, that many things, having full reference to one consent, may work contrariously. William Shakespeare. End of section 141.
Section 142 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Carl Thomas. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Ownership. The true value of anything lies not in the object itself or in its legal possession, but in our attitude to it. We may own a thing in fee simple, yet derive from it nothing but vexation. For those who have little, as indeed for those who have much, there are no surer means of happiness than enjoying that which they do not possess. Emerson shows us that two harvests may be gathered from every field, a material one by the man who raised the crop, and an aesthetic or spiritual one by whosoever can see beauty or thrill with an inner satisfaction. They ride in Packards, those swell guys, while I can't half afford a Ford. Choice fillets fill a void for them, we've cheese and prunes, the place I board. They've smirking servants hanging round, you'd guess by whom my shoes are shined, but all the same I'm rich as they, for ownership's a state of mind. They own, you say, sure, they possess, what a fellow has him. The rich can't stop and just enjoy their lawns and shrubs and house fronts trim. They're tied indoors and foot the bills, I stroll or stay as I'm inclined. Possession was not meant for use, but ownership's a state of mind. The folks who have must try to keep against the thieves who swarm and steal. They dare not stride, they mince along, their pavements a banana peel. Who owns, the jeweller or I, yon gems by window bars confined? Possession lies in locks and keys, true ownership's a state of mind. I own my office, I've a boss, but so have all men, so has he. The business is not mine, but yet I own the whole blamed company. Stockholders are less proud than I, when competition's auld lang syned. What care I that the profit's theirs? I have what counts, an owner's mind. The pretty girls I meet are mine, I do not choose to tell them so. I own the flowers, the trees, the birds, I own the sunshine and the snow. I own the block, I own the town, the smiles, the songs of humankind. For ownership is how you feel, it's just a healthy state of mind. St. Clair Adams. End of section 142.
Section 143 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Painting the Lily by William Shakespeare. Many people are not content to let well enough alone, but spoil what they have by striving for an unnecessary and foolish improvement. If they have a rich title, they try to ornament it still further. If they have refined gold, they try to gild it. If they have a lily, they try to paint it into still purer color. Therefore, to be possessed with double pomp, to guard a title that was rich before, to gild refined gold, to paint the lily, to throw a perfume on the violet, to smooth the ice or add another hue unto the rainbow, or with taper light, to seek the beauteous eye of heaven to garnish, is wasteful and ridiculous excess. End of section 143.
Section 144 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Carl Thomas. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Per aspera. A motto has been made of the Latin phrase per aspera ad astra, of which the translation sometimes given is, through bolts and bars to the stars. Thank God a man can grow. He is not bound with earthward gaze to creep along the ground, though his beginnings be but poor and low. Thank God a man can grow. The fire upon his altars may burn dim, the torch he lighted may in darkness fail, and nothing to rekindle it avail. Yet high beyond his dull horizon's rim, Arcturus and the Pleiades beckon him. Florence Earle Coates. From Poems. End of section 144.
Section 145 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. The Pessimist. Most of our ills and troubles are not very serious when we come to examine the realities of them. Or perhaps we expect too much. An old Negro was complaining that the railroad would not pay him for his mule which it had killed, nay, would not even give him back his rope. What rope, he was asked. Why, sir, answered he, the rope that I tied the mule on the track with. Nothing to do but work, nothing to eat but food, nothing to wear but clothes to keep one from going nude, nothing to breathe but air, quick as a flash 'tis gone, nowhere to fall but off, nowhere to stand but on, nothing to comb but hair, nowhere to sleep but in a bed, nothing to weep but tears, nothing to bury but dead, nothing to sing but songs, ah well, alas, alack, nowhere to go but out, nowhere to come but back, nothing to see but sights, nothing to quench but thirst, nothing to have but what we've got, thus through life we are cursed, nothing to strike but a gate, everything moves that goes, nothing at all but common sense can ever withstand these woes. Ben King. From Ben King's verse. End of section 145. Read by Dixian S. Didier, Valencia, 22nd July 2025.
Section 146 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Carl Thomas. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. A Philosopher. The web of our life is of mingled yarn, good and ill together, says Shakespeare. It behooves us, therefore, to find the good and to make the best of the ill. Two men were falling from an aeroplane. I'll bet you $5, said one, that I hit the ground first. To take things as they be, that's my philosophy. No use to holler, mope or cuss. If they was changed, they might be wuss. If rain is pouring down and lightning buzzing round, I ain't a fearin' we'll be hit, but grin that I ain't out in it. If I got deep in debt, it hasn't happened yet, and owed a man $2, gee, why I'd be glad it wasn't 3. If someone come along and tried to do me wrong, why I should sort of take a whim to thank the Lord I wasn't him. I never seen a night so dark there wasn't light, somewheres about if I took care to strike a match and find out where. John Kendrick Bangs, from Songs of Cheer. End of section 146. Section 147 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Carl Thomas. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Philosophy for Croakers. Many people seem to get pleasure in seeing all the bad there is, and in making everything about them gloomy. They are like the old woman who, on being asked how her health was, replied, "Thank the Lord, I'm poorly." Some folks get a heap of pleasure out of looking glum, hoard their cares like it was treasure, fear they won't have some. Wear black border on their spirit, hang their hopes with crape, future's gloomy and they fear it, sure there's no escape. Now there ain't no use of whining, weighting joy with lead, there is silver in the lining, somewhere on ahead. Can't enjoy the sun today, it may rain tomorrow. When a pain won't come their way, future pains they borrow. If there's good news to be heard, ears are stuffed with cotton. Evils dire are oft inferred, good is all forgotten. When upon appeal I stand, slipping like a goner, luck I trust will shake my hand just around the corner. Keep a scarecrow in the yard, fierce old bulldog near 'em, chase off joy that's trying hard to come in and cheer 'em. Wear their blinders big and strong, dodge each happy sight, like to keep their faces long, think that day is night. Now I've had my share of trouble, back been bent with ill, big load makes the joy seem double when I mount the hill. Got the toothache in their soul, corns upon their feelings, get their share but want the whole, say it's crooked dealings. Nature's steeped in indigo, got their joy wires crossed, swear it's only weeds that grow, flowers always lost. Now it's best to sing a song, stead of sit and mourn, rose you'll find grows right along, bigger than the thorn. Beat the frogs the way they croak, see with goggles blue, universe is cracked or broke, bout to split in two. Think the world is full of sin, soon go up the spout, badness always moving in, goodness moving out. But I found folks good and kind, 'cause I thought they'd be. Most men try, at least I find, to be what they should be. Joseph Morris. End of section 147.
Section 148 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Escher Vane. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Pippa's Song. This little song vibrates with an optimism that embraces the whole universe. A frequent error in quoting it is a substitution of the word well for right. Browning is no such shallow optimist as to believe that all is well with the world, but he does maintain that things are right with the world, for in spite of its present evils, it is slowly working its way toward perfection, and in the great scheme of things, it may make these evils themselves an instrument to move it toward its ultimate goal. The years at the spring, and days at the morn, mornings at 7, the hillsides dew-pearled, the larks on the wing, the snails on the thorn. God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. Robert Browning. End of section 148.
Section 149 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and Clair Adams. Playing the game. We all like the good sport, the man who plays fair and courteously and with every ounce of his energy, even when the game is going against him. Life is a game with a glorious prize, if we can only play it right. It is give and take, build and break, and often it ends in a fight. But he surely wins who honestly tries, regardless of wealth or fame. He can never display who plays it fair. How are you playing the game? Do you wilt and whine if you fail to win in the manner you think you're due? Do you sneer at the man in case that he can and does do better than you? Do you take your rebuffs with a knowing grin? Do you laugh though you pull up blame? Does your faith hold true when the whole world's blue? How are you playing the game? Get into the thick of it, wade in, boys, whatever your cherished goal. Brace up your will till your pulses thrill, and you dare to your very soul. Do something more than make a noise. Let your purpose leap into flame. As you plunge with a cry, I shall do or die, then you will be playing the game. Anonymous. End of section 149. Read by Dixian Estide, Valencia, 8th of June, 2025.
Section 150 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Playing the Game by Burton Braley. We don't like the man who whines that the cards were stacked against him or that the umpire cheated. We admire the chap who, when he must take his medicine, takes it cheerfully, bravely. To play the game steadily is a merit, whether the game be a straight one or crooked. A thoroughbred, even though bad, has more of a respect than the craven who cleaves to the proprieties solely from fear to violate them. It has well been said, the mistakes which make us men are better than the accuracies that keep us children. Yes, he went and stole our steers, so of course he had to die. I ain't shedding any tears, but when I cash in, say I, want to take it like that guy, laughing, joking, with the rest. Not a whimper, not a cry, standing up to meet the test, till we swung him clear and high, with his face turned toward the west. Here's the way it looks to me. Cattle thief's no thing to be, but if you take up that trade, be the best one ever made. If you've got a thing to do it strong and see it through. That was him. He played the game, took his chances, bet his hand, and when at last the showdown came, and he lost, he kept his sand. Didn't weep and didn't pray, didn't waver or repent, simply tossed his cards away, knowing well just what it meant, never claimed the deck was stacked, never called the game a snide, acted like a man should act, took his medicine, and died. So I say it here again, what I think is true of men, they should try to do what's right, fair and square and clean and white, but whatever is their line, bad or good or foul or fine, let 'em go the limit, play, like a plunger, that's the way. End of section 150. Section 151 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Play the Game by Henry Newbolt. The Duke of Wellington said that the Battle of Waterloo was won on the cricket fields of Eton. English sport at its best is admirable. It asks outward triumph, if possible, but far more it asks that one do his best till the very end, and treat his opponent with courtesy and fairness. The spirit thus instilled at school has again and again been carried in after life into the large affairs of the nation. There's a breathless hush in the close tonight. 10 to make and the match to win, a bumping pitch and a blinding light, an hour to play and the last man in, and it's not for the sake of a ribboned coat or the selfish hope of a season's fame, but his captain's hand on his shoulder smote, play up, and play the game. The sand of the desert is sodden red, red with the wreck of a square that broke, the Gatlings jammed and the colonel dead, and the regiments blind with dust and smoke. The river of death has brimmed his banks, and England's far and honor a name. But the voice of a schoolboy rallies the ranks, play up, and play the game. This is the word that year by year, while in her place the school is set, every one of her sons must hear, and none that hears it dare forget, that they all, with a joyful mind, bear through life like a torch in flame, and falling fling to the host behind, play up, and play the game. End of section 151.
Section 152 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Phil Schempf. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Polonius's Advice to Laertes. A father's advice to his son how to conduct himself in the world. Don't tell all you think, or put into action thoughts out of harmony or proportion with the occasion. Be friendly, but not common. Don't dull your palm by effusively shaking hands with every chance newcomer. Avoid quarrels if you can, but if they are forced on you, give a good account of yourself. Hear every man's censure, opinion, but express your own ideas to few. Dress well, but not ostentatiously. Neither borrow nor lend, and guarantee yourself against being false to others by setting up the high moral principle of being true to yourself. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. The friends thou hast, and their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel. But do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new-hatched, unfledged comrade. Beware of entrance to a quarrel, but, being in, bear it that the opposed may beware of thee. Give every man thine ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habit as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy, rich, not gaudy, for the apparel oft proclaims the man. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for a loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. William Shakespeare. End of section 152.
Section 153 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. A Poor Unfortunate by Frank L. Stanton. Things are never so bad, but they might have been worse. An immigrant into the South paid a Negro to bring him a wild turkey. The next day he complained, "You shouldn't shoot at the turkey's body, Rastus. Shoot at his head. The flesh of that turkey was simply full of shot." "Boss," said the Negro, "dem shot was meant for me." 1. His hoss went dead and his mule went lame. He lost 6 cows in a poker game. A hurricane came on a summer's day and carried the house where he lived away. Then an earthquake came when that was gone and swallowed the land that the house stood on. And the tax collector he come round and charged him up for the hole in the ground. And the city marshal he come in view and said he wanted his street tax too. 2. Did he moan and sigh? Did he set and cry and cuss the hurricane sweeping by? Did he grieve that his old friends failed to call when the earthquake come and swallered all? Never a word o' blame he said, with all them troubles up top his head. Not him. He clumb to the top of the hill, where standing room was left him still, and baring his head, here's what he said: "I reckon it's time to get up and git, but Lord, I hain't had the measles yit." End of section 153.
Section 154 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Praise the Generous Gods for Giving by William Ernest Henley. Some of us find joy in toil, some in art, some in the open air and the sunshine. All of us find it in simply being alive. Life is the gift no creature in his right mind would part with. As Milton asks, "For who would lose, though full of pain, this intellectual being? These thoughts that wander through eternity, to perish rather swallowed up and lost in the wide womb of uncreated night, devoid of sense and motion. Praise the generous gods for giving, in a world of wrath and strife, with a little time for living, unto all the joy of life. At whatever source we drink it, art or love or faith or wine, in whatever terms we think it, it is common and divine. Praise the gods, for in giving this to man and this alone, they have made his chance of living shine the equal of their own." End of section 154.
Section 155 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. A prayer. Garibaldi, the Italian patriot, said to his men, "I do not promise you ease. I do not promise you comfort. I promise you hardship, weariness, suffering. But I promise you victory. I do not pray for peace, nor ask that on my path the sounds of war shall shrill no more, the way be clear of wrath. But this I beg thee, Lord, steel thou my heart with might, and in the strife that men call life, grant me the strength to fight. I do not pray for arms, nor shield to cover me. What though I stand with empty hand? So it be valiantly. Spare me the coward's fear, questioning wrong or right. Lord, among these mine enemies, grant me the strength to fight. I do not pray that thou keep me from any wound, though I fall low from thrust and blow, forced fighting to the ground. But give me wit to hide my hurt from all men's sight, and for my need, the while I bleed, Lord, grant me strength to fight. I do not pray that thou shouldst grant me victory, enough to know that from my foe I have no will to flee. Beaten and bruised and banned, flung like a broken sword, grant me this thing for conquering. Let me die fighting, Lord. Theodosia Garrison, from The Earth Cry. End of section 155.
Section 156 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Prayer for Pain by John G. Neihardt. The thief steals from himself, the swindler swindles himself, says Emerson. Apparent gain may be actual loss, material escape may be spiritual imprisonment. Anyone may idle, but the men who are not content unless they climb the unscalable mountains, or cross the uncharted seas, or bear the burdens that others shrink from, are the ones who keep the heritage of the spirit undiminished. I do not pray for peace nor ease, nor truce from sorrow. No suppliant on servile knees begs here against tomorrow. Lean flame against lean flame we flash. O fates that meet me fair, blue steel against blue steel we clash. Lay on, and I shall dare. But thou of deeps, the awful deep, thou breather in the clay, grant this my only prayer, O keep my soul from turning gray. For until now, whatever wrought against my sweet desires, my days were smitten harps strung taut, my nights were slumbrous lyres. And howsoe'er this hard blow rang upon my battered shield, some lark-like soaring spirit sang above my battlefield. And through my soul of stormy night the zigzag blue flame ran. I asked no odds, I fought my fight, events against a man. But now at last the grey mist chokes and numbs me, leave me pain. Oh, let me feel the biting strokes, that I may fight again. End of section 156.
Section 157 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Avern Williams. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Preparedness. For all your days prepare, and meet them ever alike. When you are the anvil, bear. When you are the hammer, strike. Edwin Markham. From The Gates of Paradise and Other Poems. End of section 157.
Section 158 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Press on. The spirit that has tamed this continent is the spirit which says, press on. It appeals not so much to men in the mass as to individuals. There is only one way for mankind to go forward. Each individual must be determined that, come what will, he will never quail or recede. Press on, surmount the rocky steps, climb boldly o'er the torrent's arch. He fails alone who feebly creeps. He wins who dares the hero's march. Be thou a hero, let thy might tramp on eternal snows its way, and through the ebon walls of night hew down a passage unto day. Press on, if once and twice thy feet slip back and stumble, harder try. From him who never dreads to meet danger and death, they're sure to fly. To coward ranks the bullet speeds, while on their breasts who never quail gleams, guardian of chivalric deeds, bright courage like a coat of mail. Press on, if fortune play thee false today, tomorrow she'll be true. Whom now she sinks she now exalts, taking old gifts and granting new. The wisdom of the present hour makes up the follies past and gone. To weakness strength succeeds, and power from frailty springs. Press on, press on. Park Benjamin. End of section 158.
Section 159 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Vincent Spring. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. A pretty good world. The world has its faults, but few of us would give it up till we have to. Pretty good world if you take it all around. Pretty good world, good people. Better be on than under the ground. Pretty good world, good people. Better be here where the skies are as blue as the eyes of your sweetheart a-smiling at you. Better than lying 'neath daisies and dew. Pretty good world, good people. Pretty good world with its hopes and its fears. Pretty good world, good people. Sun twinkles bright through the rain of its tears. Pretty good world, good people. Better be here in the pathway you know, where the thorns in the gardens where sweet roses grow, than to rest where you feel not the fall of the snow. Pretty good world, good people. Pretty good world, let us sing it that way. Pretty good world, good people. Make up your minds that you're in it to stay, at least for a season, good people. Pretty good world with its dark and its bright. Pretty good world with its love and its light. Sing it that way till you whisper good night. Pretty good world, good people. Frank L. Stanton, from the Atlanta Constitution. End of section 159.
Section 160 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Leah Lalo. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. A problem to be solved. There are irritating, troublesome people about us. Of what use is it to be irritating in our turn to add to the trouble? Most offenders have their better side. Our wisest course is to find this, and upon the basis of it, build up a better relationship. There's a fellow in your office who complains and carps and whines, till you'd almost do a favor to his heirs and his assigns. But I'll tip you a secret, and this chap's of course involved. He's no foeman to be fought with, he's a problem to be solved. There's a duffer in your district whose sheer cussedness is such, he has neither pride nor manners, no, nor gumption overmuch. 'Twould be great to up and tell him where to go, but be resolved, he is no foeman to be fought with, just a problem to be solved. This old earth's, I'm sometimes thinking, one menagerie of freaks, folks invested with abnormal lungs or brains or galls or beaks. But we're not just shrieking monkeys. In a dim, vast cage revolved, we're not foemen to be fought with, merely problems to be solved. by St. Clair Adams. End of section 160.
Section 161 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Prometheus Unbound. In the poem from which this excerpt is taken, Prometheus the Titan has been cruelly tortured for opposing the malignant will of Jupiter. In the end, Prometheus wins a complete outward victory. Better still, by his steadfastness and high purpose, he has won a great inward triumph. The spirit that has actuated him and the nature of his achievement are expressed in the following lines. To suffer woes which hope thinks infinite, to forgive wrongs darker than death or night, to defy power which seems omnipotent, to love and bear, to hope till hope creates from its own wreck the thing it contemplates. Neither to change, nor falter, nor repent, this, like thy glory, Titan, is to be, good, great, and joyous, beautiful, and free. This is alone life, joy, empire, and victory. Percy Bysshe Shelley. End of section number 161.
Section number 162 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Leah Lalo. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Prospice by Robert Browning. Here the poet looks forward to death. He does not ask for an easy death. He does not wish to creep past an experience which all men sooner or later must face, and which many men have faced so heroically. He has fought well in life. He wishes to make the last fight too. The poem was written shortly after the death of Mrs. Browning, and the closing lines refer to her. Fear death to feel the fog in my throat, the mist in my face, when the snows begin and the blasts denote I am nearing the place. The power of the night, the press of the storm, the post of the foe, where he stands, the arc fear in a visible form, yet the strong man must go. For the journey is done, and the summit attained, and the barriers fall, though a battle's to fight ere the guerdon be gained, the reward of it all. I was ever a fighter, so one fight more, the best and the last. I would hate that death bandaged my eyes and forbore, and bade me creep past. No, let me taste the whole of it. Bear like my peers, the heroes of old. Bear the brunt in a minute, pay glad life's arrears of pain, darkness, and cold. For sudden the worst turns, the best, the brave, the black minutes that end, and the elements rage, the fiend voices that rave, shall dwindle, shall blend, shall change, shall become the first, a peace out of pain, then a light, then thy breast. O thou soul of my soul, I shall clasp thee again, and with God be the rest. Robert Browning. End of section 162.
Section 163 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. A Psalm of Life by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. A Psalm of Life. At times, this existence of ours seems to be meaningless. Whether we have succeeded or whether we have failed appears to make little difference to us, and therefore effort seems scarcely worthwhile. But Longfellow tells us this view is all wrong. The past can take care of itself, and we need not even worry very much about the future. But if we are true to our own natures, we must be up and doing in the present. time is short, and mastery in any field of human activity is so long a process that it forbids us to waste our moments. Yet we must learn also how to wait and endure. In short, we must not become slaves to either indifference or impatience, but must make it our business to play a man's part in life. Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. For the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Dust thou art, to dust returnest, was not spoken of the soul. Not enjoyment, and not sorrow, is our destined end or way, but to act, that each tomorrow find us further than today. Art is long, and time is fleeting, and our hearts, though stout and brave, still like muffled drums are beating funeral marches to the grave. In the world's broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not dumb, driven cattle, be a hero in the strife. Trust no future, howe'er pleasant, let the dead past bury its dead. Act, act in the living present, heart within, and God o'erhead. Lives of great men all remind us, we can make our lives sublime, and, departing, leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. Footprints that perhaps another, sailing o'er life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing, shall take heart again. Let us, then, be up and doing, with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. End of section 163.
Section 164 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Phil Schempf. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. The Quitter. In the famous naval duel between the Bonhomme Richard and the Serapis, John Paul Jones was hailed by his adversary to know whether he struck his colors. "I have not yet begun to fight," was his answer. When the surrender took place, it was not Jones' ship that became the prize of war. Everybody admires a hard fighter, the man who takes buffets standing up, and in a spirit of never say die, is always ready for more. When you're lost in the wild, and you're scared as a child, and death looks you bang in the eye, and you're sore as a boil, it's according to Hoyle to cock your revolver and die. But the code of a man says fight all you can, and self-disillusion is barred. In hunger and woe, oh, it's easy to blow, it's the hell served for breakfast that's hard. You're sick of the game? Well, now, that's a shame. You're young and you're brave and you're bright. You've had a raw deal, I know, but don't squeal. Buck up, do your damnedest and fight. It's the plugging away that will win you the day, so don't be a piker, old pard. Just draw on your grit. It's so easy to quit. It's the keeping your chin up that's hard. It's easy to cry that you're beaten and die. It's easy to crawfish and crawl. But to fight and to fight when hope's out of sight, why, that's the best game of them all. And though you come out of each grueling bout all broken and beaten and scarred, just have one more try. It's dead easy to die. It's the keeping on living that's hard. Robert W. Service. From Rhymes of a Rolling Stone. End of section 164.
Section 165 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Carl Thomas. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Rabbi Ben Ezra, selected verses. To some people, success is everything, and the easier it is gained, the better. To Browning, success is nothing unless it is won by painful effort. What Browning values is struggle. Throws, rebuffs, even failure to achieve what we wish are welcomed for the effect of vigorous endeavour interweave themselves into our characters. Moreover, through struggle, we lift ourselves from the degradation into which the indolent fall. In the intervals of strife, we may look back dispassionately upon what we have gone through, see where we erred and where we did wisely, watch the workings of universal laws, and resolve to apply hereafter what we have hitherto learned. Then welcome each rebuff that turns earth's smoothness rough, each thing that bids nor sit nor stand but go. Be our joys 3 parts pain, strive and hold cheap the strain, learn nor account the pang, dare never grudge the throe. For thence a paradox, which comforts while it mocks. Shall life succeed in that it seems to fail? What I aspired to be, and was not, comforts me. A brute I might have been, but would not sink ere the scale. So, still within this life, though lifted o'er its strife, let me discern, compare, pronounce at last. This rage was right ere the main, that acquiescence vain. The future I may face now, I have proved the past. For more is not reserved to man with soul just nerved, to act tomorrow what he learns today. Here, work enough to watch, the master work and catch, hints of the proper craft, tricks of the tool's true play. Robert Browning. End of section 165.
Section 166 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. The Rainbow by William Wordsworth. Our lives are not a hodgepodge of separate experiences. Though they sometimes seem so, they are held together by simple things which we behold again and again with the same emotions. Thus the man is what the boy has been. The tree is inclined in the precise direction the twig was bent. My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began. So is it now I am a man. So be it when I grow old, or let me die. The child is father of the man, and I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety. End of section 166.
Section 167 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Brian Gallegos. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. The Rectifying Years. Time brings the deeper understanding that clears up our misconceptions. It shows us the error of our hates. It dispels our worries and our fears. It allays the grief that seemed too poignant to be borne. Yes, things are more or less amiss. Today it's that, tomorrow this. Yet with so much that's out of whack, life does not wholly jump the track. Because, since matters move along, no one thing's always staying wrong. So heed not failures, losses, fears, but trust the rectifying years. What we shall have's not what we've got. Our pains don't linger in one spot. They skip about. The seesaw's end that's up will mighty soon descend. You've looked at bacon? Life's like that. A streak of lean, a streak of fat. Change like a sky that clouds, that clears, hangs over the rectifying years. Uneven things not leveled down are somehow simply got around. The sting is taken from offense. The evil has its recompense. The broken heart is knit again. The baffled longing knows not pain. Wrong fades and trouble disappears before the rectifying years. Then envy, hate towards man or class should from your sinful nature pass. Though others hold a higher place, or have more power, or wealth, or grace, the best of them, be sure, cannot escape the common human lot. So many smiles, so many tears, come with the rectifying years. St. Clair Adams. End of section 167.
Section 168 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Resolve. There are some things we should all resolve to do. What are they? Anyone may make a list for himself. It would be interesting to compare it with the one here given by the poet. To keep my health, to do my work, to live, to see to it I grow and gain and give, never to look behind me for an hour, to wait in weakness and to walk in power, but always fronting onward to the light, always and always facing towards the right, robbed, starved, defeated, fallen, wide astray, on with what strength I have, back to the way. Charlotte Perkins Gilman from In This Our World. End of section 168. Read by Alice Stein.
Section 169 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Phil Schempf. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. The Richer Minds. No man is so poor but that he is a stockholder. Yet many a man has no real riches. His stocks draw dividends in dollars and cents only. When it comes to buying shares in the mines of earth, may I join the millionaires who are rich in mirth. Let me have a heavy stake in fresh mountain air. I will promise now to take all that you can spare. When you're setting up your claim in the mines of glee, don't forget to use my name. You can count on me. Nothing better can be won, freer from alloy, than a bouncing claim in consolidated joy. You can have your copper stocks, gold and tin and coal. What I have within my box has to do with soul. John Kendrick Bangs, from Songs of Cheer. End of section 169.
Section 170 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by John Beeble. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Ring Out Wild Bells by Alfred Tennyson. This great New Year's piece belongs almost as well to every day in the year, since it expresses a social ideal of justice and happiness. Ring out wild bells to the wild sky, the flying cloud, the frosty light. The year is dying in the night. Ring out, wild bells, and let him die. Ring out the old, ring in the new. Ring, happy bells, across the snow. The year is going, let him go. Ring out the false, ring in the true. Ring out the grief that saps the mind. For those that here we see no more. Ring out the feud of rich and poor. Ring in redress to all mankind. Ring out a slowly dying cause, and ancient forms of party strife. Ring in the nobler modes of life, with sweeter manners, purer laws. Ring out the want, the care, the sin, the faithless coldness of the times. Ring out my mournful rhymes, but ring the fuller minstrel in. Ring out false pride in place and blood, the civic slander and the spite. Ring in the love of truth and right. Ring in the common love of good. Ring out old shapes of foul disease. Ring out the narrowing lust of gold. Ring out the 1,000 wars of old. Ring in the 1,000 years of peace. Ring in the valiant man and free, the larger heart, the kindlier hand. Ring out the darkness of the land. Ring in the Christ that is to be. End of section 170.
Section 171 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morse and St. Clair Adams. Rules for the Road. Rules for the Road. Ardu of sinew and spirit, what else do we need to make our journey prosperous and happy? Stand straight. Step firmly, throw your weight. The heaven is high above your head. The good gray road is faithful to your tread. Be strong. Sing to your heart a battle song. Though hidden foemen lie in wait, something is in you that can smile at fate. Press through. Nothing can harm if you are true. And when the night comes, rest. The earth is friendly as a mother's breast. Edwin Markham, from The Gates of Paradise and Other Poems. End of section 171.
Section 172 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Leah Lalo. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morse and St. Clair Adams. Sadness and Merriment by William Shakespeare. In this passage, Antonio states that he is overcome by a sadness that he cannot account for. Salarino tells him that the mental attitude is everything, that mirth is as easy as gloom, that nature, in her freakishness, makes some men laugh at trifles until their eyes become mere slits, yet leaves others dour and unsmiling before jests that would convulse even the venerable Nestor. Gratiano maintains that Antonio is too absorbed in worldly affairs, and that he must not let his spirits grow sluggish or irritable. In sooth, I know not why I am so sad. It wearies me, you say it wearies you, but how I fought it, found it, or came by it, what stuff 'tis made of, whereof it is born, I am to learn. Then let's say you are sad, because you are not merry, and 'twere as easy for you to laugh and leap, and say you are merry, because you are not sad. Now, by two-headed Janus, nature hath framed strange fellows in her time, some that will evermore peep through their eyes and laugh like parrots at a bagpiper, and other of such vinegar aspect, that they'll know not their teeth in a way of smile, though Nestor swear the jest be laughable. You look not well, Signor Antonio. You have too much respect upon the world. They lose it that to buy it with much care. Believe me, you are marvellously changed. I hold the world but as the world, Gratiano, a stage where every man must play a part, and mine a sad one. Let me play the fool with mirth and laughter, let old wrinkles come, and let my liver rather heat with wine than my heart cool with mortifying groans. Why should a man whose blood is warm within him sit like Granshire cut in alabaster, sleep when he wakes, and creep into a jaundice? By being peevish, fare ye well a while, I'll end my exhortation after dinner. William Shakespeare. End of section 172.
Section 173 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Say Not the Struggle Not Availeth by Arthur Hugh Clough. Say not the struggle not availeth. In any large or prolonged enterprise, we are likely to take too limited a view of the progress we are making. The obstacles do not yield at some given point. We therefore imagine we have made no headway. The poet here uses three comparisons to show the folly of accepting this hasty and partial evidence. A soldier may think, from the little part of the battle he can see, that the day is going against him, but by holding his ground stoutly he may help his comrades in another quarter to win the victory. Successive waves may seem to rise no higher on the land, but far back in swollen creek and inlet is proof that the tide is coming in. As we look toward the east, we are discouraged at the slowness of daybreak, but by looking westward we see the whole landscape illumined. Say not the struggle not availeth, the labor and the wounds are vain, the enemy faints not nor faileth, and as things have been they remain. If hopes were dupes, fears may be liars, it may be in yon smoke concealed, your comrades chase e'en now the flyers, and but for you possess the field. For while the tired waves, vainly breaking, seem here no painful inch to gain, far back, through creeks and inlets making, comes silent flooding in the main. And not by eastern windows only, when daylight comes in the light. In front the sun climbs slow, how slowly, but westward look, the land is bright. Arthur Hugh Clough. End of section 173. Read by Kat Sears, Denver, Colorado, June 13th, 2025.
Section 174 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Larry Wilson. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. See It Through by Edgar A. Guest. An American traveler in Italy stood watching a lumberman who, as the logs floated down a swift mountain stream, jabbed his hook in an occasional one and drew it carefully aside. "Why do you pick out those few?" the traveler asked. "They all look alike." "But they are not alike, senor. The logs I let pass have grown on the side of a mountain, where they have been protected all their lives. Their grain is coarse. They are good only for lumber. But these logs, senor, grew on the top of the mountain. From the time they were sprouts and saplings, they were lashed and buffeted by the winds, and so they grew strong with fine grain. We save them for choice work. They are not lumber, senor." When you're up against a trouble, meet it squarely, face to face. Lift your chin and set your shoulders.
Plant your feet and take a brace. When it's vain to try to dodge it, do the best that you can do. You may fail, but you may conquer. See it through. Black may be the clouds about you, and your future may seem grim, but don't let your nerve desert you. Keep yourself in fighting trim. If the worst is bound to happen, spite of all that you can do, running from it will not save you. See it through. Even hope may seem but futile when with troubles you're beset, but remember you are facing just what other men have met. You may fail, but fall still fighting. Don't give up whate'er you do. Eyes front, head high to the finish. See it through. From Just Folks. End of section 174.
Section 175 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Self-Dependence by Matthew Arnold. Self-dependence. One star does not ask another to adore it or amuse it. Mount Shasta, though it towers for thousands of feet above its neighbors, does not repine that it is alone or that the adjacent peaks see much that it misses under the clouds. Nature does not trouble itself about what the rest of nature is doing, but man constantly worries about other men, what they think of him, do to him, fail to emulate in him, have or secure in comparison with him. He lacks nature's inward quietude. Calmness and peace come by being self-contained. Weary of myself and sick of asking what I am and what I ought to be, at this vessel's prow I stand which bears me forwards, forwards, o'er the starlit sea. And a look of passionate desire o'er the sea and to the stars I send, ye who from my childhood up have calmed me, calm me, ah, compose me to the end. Ah, once more I cried, ye stars, ye waters, on my heart your mighty charm renew. Still, still let me, as I gaze upon you, feel my soul becoming vast like you. From the intense, clear, star-sown vault of heaven, over the lit sea's unquiet way, in the rustling night air came the answer, wouldst thou be as these are, live as they? Unaffrighted by the silence round them, undistracted by the sights they see, these demand not the things without them, yield them love, amusement, sympathy. And with joy the stars perform their shining, and the sea its long moon-silvered roll. For self-poised they live, nor pine with noting all the fever of some differing soul. Bounded by themselves and unregardful in what state God's other works may be, in their own tasks all their powers pouring, these attain the mighty life you see. O airborne voice, long since severely clear, a cry like thine in mine own heart I hear. Resolve to be thyself and know that he who finds himself loses his misery. Matthew Arnold. End of section 175. Read by Kat Sears, Denver, Colorado, June 13th, 2025.
Section 176 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Serenity by Lord Byron. Calmness of mind to face anything the future may have in store is expressed in this quatrain. Here's a sigh to those who love me, and a smile to those who hate, and whatever skies above me, here's a heart for every fate. End of section 176.
Section 177 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by John Beeble. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Sit Down, Sad Soul by Brian Waller Proctor. A watched pot never boils. Though the pot be the pot of happiness, the proverb still holds true. Sit down, sad soul, and count the moments flying. Come, tell the sweet amount that's lost by sighing. How many smiles? A score? Then laugh and count no more, for day is dying. Lie down, sad soul, and sleep, and no more measure the flight of time, nor weep the loss of leisure. But here, by this lone stream, lie down with us and dream of starry treasure. We dream, do thou the same. We love forever. We laugh, yet few we shame, the gentle never. Stay then till sorrow dies, then hope and happy skies are thine forever. End of section 177.
Section 178 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Sleep and the Monarch by William Shakespeare. The great elemental blessings cannot be cornered. Indeed, they cannot be bought at all, but are the natural property of the man whose ways of life are such as to retain them. In this passage a disappointed and harassed king comments on the slumber which he cannot woo to his couch, yet which his humblest subject enjoys. How many thousands of my poorest subjects are at this hour asleep? O sleep, O gentle sleep, nature's soft nurse, how have I frighted thee, that thou no more wilt weigh my eyelids down and steep my senses in forgetfulness? Why, rather, sleep, liest thou in smoky cribs, upon uneasy pallets stretching thee, and hushed with buzzing night flies to thy slumber, than in the perfumed chambers of the great, under the canopies of costly state, and lulled with sound of sweetest melody? O thou dull god, why liest thou with the vile in loathsome beds, and leavest the kingly couch a watch-case or a common larum bell? Wilt thou upon the high and giddy mast seal up the ship-boy's eyes, and rock his brains, in cradle of the rude imperious surge, and in the visitation of the winds, who take the ruffian billows by the top, curling their monstrous heads and hanging them with deafening clamor in the slippery clouds, that with the hurly death itself awakes? Canst thou, O partial sleep, give thy repose to the wet sea-boy in an hour so rude, and in the calmest and most stillest night, with all appliances and means to boot, deny it to a king?
Then happy low, lie down. Uneasy lies the head that wears a crown. William Shakespeare. End of section 178.
Section 179 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Slogan by Jane Meline. Some men want ideal conditions with pay in advance before they will work, but the world does not want such men and has little place for them. Don't prate about what is your right, but bare your fists and show your might. Life is another man to fight, catch as catch can. Don't talk of life as scurvy fate, who gave you favors just too late, or luck who threw you smiles for bait before he ran. Don't whine and wish that you were dead, but wrestle for your daily bread, and afterward let it be said, he was a man. End of section 179.
Section 180 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Lotus 7. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Smiles by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Smiles. Smiles bring out the latent energies within us, as water reveals the bright colours in the stone it flows over. Smile a little as you go along. Not alone when life is pleasant, but when things go wrong. Care delights to see you frowning, loves to hear you sigh. Turn a smiling face upon her, quick the dame will fly. Smile a little, all along the road. Every life must have its burden, every heart its load. Why sit down in gloom and darkness, with your grief to sup? As you drink fate's bitter tonic, smile across the cup. Smile upon the troubled pilgrims who you pass and meet. Frowns are thorns and smiles are blossoms, oft for weary feet. Do not make the way seem harder by a sullen face. Smile a little, brighten up the place. Smile upon your undone labour, not for one who grieves, or his task waits wealth or glory. He who smiles achieves. Though you meet with loss and sorrow in the passing years, smile a little, even through your tears. Ella Wheeler Wilcox. From Poems of Power. End of section 180.
Section 181 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. A Smiling Paradox by John Kendrick Bangs. A smiling paradox. Good nature or ill is like the loaves and fishes. The more we give away, the more we have. I've squandered smiles today, and, strange to say, although my frowns with care I've stowed away, tonight I'm poorer far in frowns than at the start, while in my heart, wherein my treasures best I store, I find my smiles increased by several score. John Kendrick Bangs. From Songs of Cheer. End of section 181. Read by Kat Sears, Denver, Colorado, June 13th, 2025.
Section 182 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Solitude by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Said an Irishman who had been several times kicked downstairs, quote, "I begin to think they don't want me around here." End quote. So it is with our sorrows, our struggles. Life decrees that they belong to us individually. If we try to make others share them, we are shunned. But struggling and weary humanity is glad enough to share our joys. Laugh, and the world laughs with you. Weep, and you weep alone. For the sad old earth must borrow its mirth. It has trouble enough of its own. Sing, and the hills will answer. Sigh, it is lost on the air. The echoes bound to a joyful sound, but shrink from voicing care. Rejoice, and men will seek you. Grieve, and they turn and go. They want full measure of all your pleasure, but they do not want your woe. Be glad, and your friends are many. Be sad, and you lose them all. There are none to decline your nectared wine, but alone you must drink life's gall. Feast, and your halls are crowded. Fast, and the world goes by. Succeed and give, and it helps you live, but it cannot help you die. There is room in the halls of pleasure for a long and lordly train, but one by one we must all file on through the narrow aisles of pain. Ella Wheeler Wilcox, from, quote, How Salvator Won, end quote. End of section 182.
Section 183 of It Can Be Done. And this is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Lotus 7. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Song of Endeavour by James W. Foley. Song of Endeavour. Don Quixote discovered that there are no eggs in last year's birds' nests. Many of us waste our time in regrets for the past, without seeming to perceive that hope lies only in endeavour for the future. 'Tis not by wishing that we gain the prize, nor yet by rueing, but from our falling, learning how to rise, and tireless doing. The idol's broken, nor our tears and sighs may yet restore them. Regret is only for fools, the wise look but before them. Nor ever yet success was wooed with tears to notes of gladness. Alone the fickle goddess turns her ears, she hears not sadness. The heart thrives not in the dull rain and mist of gloomy pining. The sweetest flowers are the flowers sun-kissed, where glad light's shining. Look not behind thee, there is only dust and vain regretting. The lost tide ebbs. In the next flood thou must learn by forgetting. For the lost chances be ye not distressed to endless weeping. Be not the thrush that o'er the empty nest is vigil keeping. But in new efforts our regrets today to stillness whiling, let us in some pure purpose find the way to future smiling. James W. Foley, from the Voices of Song, end of section 183.
Section 184 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. A Song of Life by Angela Morgan. Many of us merely exist and think that we live. What we should regain at all costs is freshness and intensity of being. This need not involve turbulent activity. It may involve quite the opposite. Say not, I live, unless the morning's trumpet brings a shock of glory to your soul, unless the ecstasy that sings through rushing worlds and insects' wings sends you up springing to your goal, glad for the need for toil and strife, eager to grapple hands with life. Say not, I live. Say not, I live, unless the energy that rings throughout this universe of fire a challenge to your spirit flings, here in the world of men and things, thrilling you with a huge desire to mate your purpose with the stars, to shout with Jupiter and Mars. Say not, I live. Say not, I live, such were a libel on the plan, blazing within the mind of God, ere world or star or sun began. Say rather, with your fellow man, I grub, I burrow in the sod. Life is not life that does not flame with consciousness of whence it came. Say not, I live. End of section 184. Section 185 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. A Song of Thanksgiving by Angela Morgan. We should have grateful spirits, not merely for personal benefits, but also for the right to sympathize, to understand, to help, to trust, to struggle, to aspire. Thank God I can rejoice in human things, the multitude's glad voice, the street's warm surge beneath the city light, the rush of hurrying faces on my sight, the million-celled emotion in the press, that would their human fellowship confess. Thank thee because I may my brother feed, that thou hast opened me unto his need. Keep me from being callous, cold, and blind. Taught me the melody of being kind. Thus for my own and for my brother's sake, thank thee I am awake. Thank thee that I can trust, that though 1,000 times I feel the thrust of faith betrayed, I still have faith in man, believe him pure and good since time began, thy child forever, though he may forget the perfect mold in which his soul was set. Thank thee that when love dies, fresh love springs up, new wonders pour from heaven's cup. Young to my soul the ancient need returns, immortal in my heart the ardor burns, my altar fires replenished from above. Thank thee that I can love. Thank thee that I can hear, finely and keenly with the inner ear, below the rush and clamor of a throng, the mighty music of the undersong. And when the day has journeyed to its rest, lo, as I listen from the amber west, where the great organ lifts its glowing spires, there sounds the chanting of the unseen choirs. Thank thee for sight that shows the hidden flame beneath all breathing, throbbing things the same, thy pulse, the pattern of the things to be. Thank thee that I can see. Thank thee that I can feel, that though life's blade be terrible as steel, my soul is stripped and naked to the fang. I crave the stab of beauty and the pang, to be alive, to think, to yearn, to strive, to suffer torture when the goal is wrong, to be sent back and fashioned strong, rejoicing in the lesson that was taught, by all the good the grim experience wrought, at last exulting to arrive. Thank God I am alive. End of section 185. Section 186 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Shrimpfish. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. A Song of Tomorrow by Frank L. Stanton. A night's sleep and a new day. These are excellent things to look forward to when one is weary or in trouble. Little bit er trouble, honey, for terday. Yander come termorrer, shine it all the way. Rainy sky is sayin', dis'll never do. Fetch them rainbow ribbons, and I'll dress in blue. End of section 186.
Section 187 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Stability. Whom do we wish for our friends and allies? On whom would we wish to depend in a time of need? Those who are not the slaves of fortune, but have made the most of both her buffets and her rewards. Those who control their fears and rash impulses, and do not give way to sudden emotion. Amid confusion and disaster, men like these will stand, as Jackson did at Bull Run, like a veritable stone wall. Since my dear soul was mistress of her choice, and could of men distinguish, her election hath sealed thee for herself. For thou hast been as one in suffering all that suffers nothing. A man that fortune's buffets and rewards has taken with equal thanks. And blessed are those whose blood and judgment are so well commingled that they are not a pipe for fortune's finger to sound what stop she please. Give me that man that is not passion's slave, and I will wear him in my heart's core, aye, in my heart of heart, as I do thee. William Shakespeare. End of section 187. Read by Faith Abiola Ellison, London, June 2025.
Section 188 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Stand Forth by Angela Morgan. The human spirit can triumph over difficulties as flowers bloom along the edge of the alpine snow. Stand forth, my soul, and grip thy woe, buckle the sword and face thy foe. What right hast thou to be afraid when all the universe will aid? 10,000 rally to thy name, horses and chariots of flame. Do others fear? Do others fail? My soul must grapple and prevail. My soul must scale the mountainside and with the conquering army ride. Stand forth, my soul. Stand forth, my soul, and take command. 'Tis I, thy master, bid thee stand. Claim thou thy ground and thrust thy foe. Plead not thine enemy should go. Let others cringe. My soul is free. No hostile host can conquer me. There lives no circumstance so great can make me yield or doubt my fate. My soul must know what kings have known. must reach and claim its rightful throne. Stand forth, my soul. I ask no truce, I have no qualms, I seek no quarter and no alms. Let those who will obey the sod, my soul sprang from the living God. 'Tis I, the King, who bid thee stand. Grasp with thy hand, my royal hand, stand forth. End of section 188. Read by Ingrid Falk, Béziers, France, March 2025.
Section 189 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Avern Williams. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Start where you stand. When a man who had been in the penitentiary applied to Henry Ford for employment, he started to tell Mr. Ford his story. "Never mind," said Mr. Ford. "I don't care about the past. Start where you stand." Author's note. Start where you stand and never mind the past. The past won't help you in beginning new. If you have left it all behind at last, why, that's enough. You're done with it. You're through. This is another chapter in the book. This is another race that you have planned. Don't give the vanished days a backward look. Start where you stand. The world won't care about your old defeats if you can start anew and win success. The future is your time, and time is fleet, and there is much of work and strain and stress. Forget the buried woes and dead despairs. Here is a brand new trial right at hand. The future is for him who does and dares. Start where you stand. Old failures will not halt. Old triumphs aid. Today's the thing. Tomorrow soon will be. Get in the fight and face it unafraid, and leave the past to ancient history. What has been, yesterday is dead, and by it you are neither blessed nor banned. Take courage, man, be brave and drive ahead. Start where you stand. Burton Braley, from A Banjo at Armageddon. End of section 189.
Section 190 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Phil Schempf. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Steadfast. No one ever has a trouble so great that some other person has not a greater. The thought of the heroism shown by those more grievously afflicted than we helps us to bear our own ills patiently. If I can help another bear an ill by bearing mine with somewhat of good grace, can take fate's thrusts with not too long a face, and help him through his trials, then I will. For do not braver men than I decline to bow to troubles graver far than mine. Pain twists this body, yes, but it shall not distort my soul, by all the gods that be. And when it's done its worst, pain's victory shall be an empty one. Whate'er my lot, my banner ragged, but nailed to the mast, shall fly triumphant to the very last. Others, so much worse off than I, have fought, have smiled, have met defeat with unbent head. They shame me into following where they led. Can I ignore the lesson they have taught? Strike hands with me. Dark is the way we go, but souls courageous line it, that I know. Everard Jack Appleton, from The Quiet Courage. End of section 190.
Section 191 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Larry Wilson. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. The Stone Rejected by Edwin Markham. The story here poetically retold of the great Florentine sculptor shows how much a lofty spirit may make of unpromising material. For years it had been trampled in the street of Florence by the drift of heedless feet. The stone that star-touched Michelangelo turned to that marble loveliness we know. You mind the tale, how he was passing by when the rude marble caught his Jovian eye. That stone men had dishonored and had thrust out to the insult of the wayside dust. He stooped to lift it from its mean estate, and bore it on his shoulder to the gate, where all day long 100 hammers rang, and soon his chisel round the marble sang, and suddenly the hidden angel shone. It had been waiting prisoned in the stone. Thus came the cherub with the laughing face that long has lighted up an altar place. From the Gates of Paradise and Other Poems. End of section 191.
Section 192 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. The Struggle. We all dream of being St. George and fighting dragons amid glamour and glory and the applause of the world. But our real fights are mostly commonplace, routine battles where no great victory is ours at the end of the day. To persist in them requires quiet strength and unfaltering courage. Did you ever want to take your 2 bare hands and choke out of the world your big success? Beat, torn fists bleeding, pathways rugged, grand, by sheer brute strength and bigness, nothing less? So, at the last, triumphant, battered, strong, you might gaze down on what you choked and beat and say, "Ah, well, you've wrought to do me wrong, and thus I have accepted my defeat." Have you ever dreamed of viral deeds and vast, and then come back from dreams with wobbly knees to find your way, the braver version past, by picking meekly at typewriter keys, by bending o'er a ledger day by day, by some machine-like drudging? No great woe to grapple with. Slow, painful is the way, and still the bravest fight and conquer so. Miriam Teichner. End of section 192, read by Alice Stein. Section 193 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Submission. There are times when the right thing to do is to submit. There are times when the right thing is to strive, to fight. To put forth one's best effort is in itself a reward. But sometimes it brings a material reward also. The frog that, after falling into the churn, found that it couldn't jump out and wouldn't try, was drowned. The frog, that kept leaping in brave but seemingly hopeless endeavor, at last churned the milk, mounted the butter for a final effort, and escaped. Submission? They have preached at that so long, as though the head bowed down would right the wrong, as though the folded hand, the coward heart, were saintly sights of souls sublimely strong, as though the man who acts the waiting part and but submits had little wings astart. But may I never reach that anguished plight where I at last grow weary of the fight. Submission. Wrong, of course, must ever be, because it ever was. 'Tis not for me to seek a change, to strike the maiden blow. 'Tis best to bow the head and not to see. 'Tis best to dream that we need never know the truth, to turn our eyes away from woe. Perhaps. But, I pray for keener sight, and may I not grow weary of the fight. Miriam Teichner. End of section 193. Read by Alice Stein.
Section 194 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Success. As necessity is the mother of invention, strong desire is the mother of attainment. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, work day and night for it, give up your time and your peace and your sleep for it, if only desire of it makes you quite mad enough never to tire of it, makes you hold all other things tawdry and cheap for it, if life seems all empty and useless without it, and all that you scheme and you dream is about it, if gladly you'll sweat for it, fret for it, plan for it, lose all your terror of God or man for it, if you'll simply go after that thing that you want with all your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope and confidence, stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famished and gaunt, nor sickness, nor pain of body or brain can turn you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, you'll get it. Burton Braley, From Things as They Are. End of section 194.
Section 195 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Brian Gallegos. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Swellitis. A certain employer of large numbers of men makes it a principle to praise none of them, not because they are undeserving, and not because he dislikes to commend, but because experience has taught him that usually the praise goes to the head of the recipient, both impairing his work and making it harder for others to associate with him. A good test of a man is his way of taking commendation. He may, even while grateful, be stirred to humility that he has not done better still, and may resolve to accomplish more. Or, imitating the frog who wished to look like an ox, he may swell and swell until, figuratively speaking, he bursts. Somebody said he'd done it well, and presto, his head began to swell. Bigger and bigger the poor thing grew. A wonder it didn't split in two. In size a balloon could scarcely match it. He needed a fishing pole to scratch it. But 6½ was the size of his hat. and it rattled around on his head at that. "Good work," somebody chanced to say, and his chest swelled big as a load of hay. About himself like a rooster he crowed. Of his wonderful work he bragged and blowed. He marched around with a peacock strut. Gigantic to him was the figure he cut. But he wore a very small-sized suit, and loosely it hung on him to boot. He was the chap who made things hum. He was the drumstick and the drum. He was the shirt bosom and the starch. He was the keystone in the arch. He was the axis of the earth. Nothing existed before his birth. But when he was off from work, a nobody knew that he was away. This is a fact that is sad to tell. It's the empty head that is bound to swell. It's the lightweight fellow who soars to the skies and bursts like a bubble before your eyes. A big man is humbled by honest praise and tries to think of all the ways to improve his work and do it well. But a little man starts of himself to yell. Joseph Morris. End of section 195.
Section 196 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. The Syndicated Smile by St. Clair Adams. A ready and sincere friendliness is the one thing we can show to every human being, whether we know him or not. The world is full of perplexed and lonely people whom even a smile or a kind look will help. Yet that which is so easy to give we too often reserve for a few, and those perhaps the least appreciative. I knew a girl who had a beau, and his name wasn't Adams. No child of hers would ever call the present writer Dadams. I didn't love the girl, but still I found her most beguiling, and so did all the other chaps. She did it with her smiling. "I'm not a one-man girl," she said. "Of smiles my beau first took his, but some are left I'll syndicate and pass them round like cookies." That syndicated smile, when trouble seemed the most in style, it heartened us, that indicated, syndicated smile. It's not enough to please your boss or fawn round folks with bankrolls. Be just as friendly to the guys whose homespun round their shank rolls. The best investment in the world is goodwill, 20 carat. It costs you nothing, brings returns, so get yours out and air it. A niggard of good nature cheats himself and wrongs his fellows. You'd serve mankind? Then be less close with friendly nods and hellos. The syndicated smile, if you have kept it all the while, you've vindicated the indicated syndicated smile. End of section 196. Read by Brian Fullen, Plano, Texas, April 2025.
Section 197 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. There Will Always Be Something to Do by Edgar A. Guest. An old lady, famous for her ability to find in other people traits that she could commend, was challenged to say a good word for the devil. After a moment's hesitation, she answered, "You must at least give him credit for being industrious." Perhaps it is this superactivity of Satan that causes beings less wickedly inclined to have such scope for the exercise of their qualities. Certain it is that nobody need hang back from want of something to do, to promote, to assail, to protect, to endure, or to sympathize with. There will always be something to do, my boy. There will always be wrongs to right. There will always be need for a manly breed, and men unafraid to fight. There will always be honor to guard, my boy. There will always be hills to climb, and tasks to do and battles new, from now till the end of time. There will always be dangers to face, my boy. There will always be goals to take. Men shall be tried when the roads divide, and proved by the choice they make. There will always be burdens to bear, my boy. There will always be need to pray. There will always be tears through the future years, as loved ones are borne away. There will always be God to serve, my boy, and always the flag above. They shall call to you until life is through, for courage and strength and love. So these are things that I dream, my boy, and have dreamed since your life began. That whatever befalls when the old world calls, it shall find you a sturdy man. Edgar A. Guest. From the Path to Home. End of section 197.
Section 198 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Brian Gallegos. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Thick is the darkness. How many of us forget when the sun goes down that it will rise again. Thick is the darkness. Sunward, oh sunward. Rough is the highway. Onward, still onward. Dawn harbors surely, east of the shadows. Facing us somewhere spread the sweet meadows. Upward and forward, time will restore us. Light is above us. Rest is before us. William Ernest Henley. End of section 198.
Section 199 of It Can Be Done. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by PZR Voice. It Can Be Done by Joseph Morris and St. Clair Adams. Section 199. The Things That Haven't Been Done Before by Edgar A. Guest. The things that haven't been done before. It is said that if you hold a stick in front of the foremost sheep in a flock that files down a trail in the mountains, he will jump it, and that every sheep thereafter will jump when he reaches the spot, even if the stick be removed. So are many people mere unthinking imitators, blind to the facts and opportunities about them. Kentucky could not be lived in by the white race till Daniel Boone built his cabin there. The air was not part of the domain of humanity till the Wright brothers made themselves birdmen. The things that haven't been done before, those are the things to try. Columbus dreamed of an unknown shore at the rim of the far-flung sky, and his heart was bold and his faith was strong as he ventured in dangers new, and he paid no heed to the jeering throng or the fears of the doubting crew. The many will follow the beaten track with guideposts on the way. They live and have lived for ages back with a chart for every day. Someone has told them it's safe to go on the road he has traveled o'er, and all that they ever strive to know are the things that were known before. A few strike out with map or chart where never a man has been. From the beaten paths they draw apart to see what no man has seen. There are deeds they hunger alone to do, though battered and bruised and sore. They blaze the path for the many who do nothing not done before. The things that haven't been done before are the tasks worthwhile today. Are you one of the flock that follows, or are you one that shall lead the way? Are you one of the timid souls that quail at the jeers of a doubting crew? Or dare you, whether you win or fail, strike out for a goal that's new? Edgar A. Guest. From A Heap o' Livin'. End of section 199. Read by PZR Voice.